Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, today we will be dissecting Surah Ali Imran verse 10 to 14. Before we read the letter, we will discuss the history of Surah Ali Imran. Surah Ali Imran is the third surah in the Quran consisting of two verses and belongs to the group of Madinah Surah, which were revealed after the Prophet Muhammad SAW migrated to Medina. The revelation of this surah happened gradually, especially after two important events in Islamic history. This is the Battle of Badr and the Battle of Uhud. Most of the verses in the surah were revealed after the Battle of Uhud, in response to the temporary defeat suffered by the Muslims. Allah revealed first that evaluate that the cause of defeat, such as the disobedience of some of the troops and the temptation of the world, while providing mental and spiritual strengthening to the Muslim. The surah also contains a response to the technological dialogue between the Prophet Muhammad SAW and a group of Christians from Najran who came to Medina. In the early verse, Allah explained the position of Prophet Isa or Jesus as a servant and apostle, not God or the Son of God, and introduced the concept of mubahalah as a form of truth challenge. Surah Ali Imran also warns about the dangers of disunity and hypocrisy. Allah calls on Muslims to be united in the bond of religion and not to be divided. As explained in verse 103, hold fast all of you to the rope religion of Allah and do not be divided. Okay, now let's go straight to verse 10. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Innalladzina kafaru lan tughniya anhum amwaluhum wala aulatuhum minallahi syai'a wa ulaika hum waqudun nar. Indeed, those who disbelieve, neither their wealth nor their children will avail them against Allah at all, and it is they who will be fuel for the fire. So, this verse emphasizes that on the day of judgment, material possessions and social ties, such as wealth and children, will be of no help of the disbelievers. Their reliance on worldly power is futile in the face of divine justice, and they themselves will be the fuel that ignites and sustains hellfire, indicating the severity of their punishment. And verse 11 is Katabi ali fir'auna walladzina min qablim kazzabu bi ayatina فَأَخَذَهُمُ اللَّهُ بِذُنُوبِهِمْ وَاللَّهُ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. Their fate is like the people of Pharaoh and those before them. They denied our signs, so Allah saved them for their sins, and Allah is served in punishment. The tafsir of this verse is this verse draws a parallel between the current disbelievers and previous nation like Paros, who also reject divine message. Their destruction was a direct result of their sins and arrogance. It serves as a warning that Allah's punishment is both real and severe. Now, let's go to verse 12. قل للذين كفروا ستغلبون وتحشرون إلى جهنم وبئس المهاد. Say to those who disbelieve, you will be overcome and gathered together to hell, and wretched is the resting place. So this first talk about Prophet Muhammad is command to warn the disbelievers to their ultimate defeat. Not only will they lose in this world, but their final abode in the hereafter will be hell, a place described as terrible and miserable. Then, verse 13. قد كان لكم آية في فئتين التقتا فئة تقاتل في سبيل الله وأخرى كافرة يرونهم مثليهم رأي العين والله يؤيد بنصره من يشاء إن في ذلك لعبرة لأولي الأبصار. Already there has been for you a sign in the two armies that met in battle, one fighting in the cause of Allah and another disbelieving. They saw them to be twice their own number by their eyesight. But Allah supports with His victory whom He wills. Indeed, in that is a lesson for those of vision. So, this first refers to the Battle of Badr, where a small Muslim army defeated a larger pagan force. It illustrates that victory does not depend solely on numbers or power, but on Allah's will. The impressive number were made to seem greater as a divine sign and a lesson for people who reflect. Verse 14. زين للناس حب Syahawati minan nisa'i wal banina wal qanadiril muqannadarati minadh dhahabi wal fiddati wal khaylil musawwamati wal an'ami wal harth. Dzalika mata'u hayatid dunya wallahu indahu husnul ma'ab. Beautiful for people is the love of that which they desire of women and sons, heaped up sums of gold and silver, fine branded horse and cattle and tilled land. This is the enjoyment of worldly life, but Allah has with him the best return. This verse describes the worldly attraction that captive human hearts, family, wealth, luxury, and position. These things are not entirely evil, but they are temporary and limited. This verse contrasts this with what Allah offers in the hereafter, urging believers to prioritize eternal reward over fleeting pleasure. Okay, thank you, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.